Welcome to Between Two Pastries, a not-so-typical nutrition podcast. Nicole and Annie are licensed and registered dietitians. Join them as they discuss hot nutrition topics, challenge popular beliefs, and have a blast doing it. Here are your hosts, Nicole and Annie.
Welcome to Between Two Pastries, everybody. This is Nicole.
Hey everyone, it's Annie.
So Annie and I are already kind of beating our heads against our desks this morning because we had several topics in mind, and then we got talking about some other things that have kind of derailed things, and now we're just falling into a depression.
Yeah,
so we're going to share that with you.
this sucks.
No.
I don't even want to.
I think here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. Everything that's out there, and boy, is it scary, is geared on reminding you how not good enough you are in general.
Oh, everything.
Not
in
good
food
enough.
Or yeah, it's
Not good enough with how you eat, not good enough with how you look, not good enough with how you choose or not choose to exercise, not good enough with how you do your
parenting,
hair,
sleep,
not good enough.
work, everything.
It's mind
Literally
blowing.
everything.
So I had stumbled, and I think what we're going to do, we're going to end up combining a couple of these topics that we had talked about.
Let's just let it rip.
I had stumbled across advertisement from an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I thought, this is curious.
Why don't you first tell people what that is?
Oh, sorry. So an Ayurvedic, an Ayurvedic, and what I could do is just find the real definition. But I mean, an Ayurvedic.
I love real definitions.
Yeah, because it is a little interesting, right? So Ayurvedic medicine.
People can't argue with me that.
No, I completely get it. Okay. So it's a medical system from India, basically. It's been used for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. So, and again, this is an in India-based concept. You know, the goal is to, restore the body to balance, but incorporating, mind, body, spirit. It's heavily practiced in India and Nepal. And what have you. It works with the different dashas, if anybody's familiar with that. And it is considered a healing system, take it for what that's worth. And so again, usually if you're going to do some Ayurvedic medicine, you're taking a quiz that kind of helps to indicate and find what dasha might be more dominant. Usually we're a combination dashas. Anyway, I'm just trying to give you an incredibly
basic,
tiny overview. Anyway, it's been around forever, and it's one of the areas that I was actually, I spent a little time with, just because I really like to be familiar with all modalities. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's a very mind, body, spirit experience, right? It's all about support. So the red flag for me, and for those of you that are not familiar with that, you're not going to probably pick up on it. So the red flag of this Ayurvedic practitioner, the whole claim was about your body being fat, having rolls, having wrinkles, that how awful it is, and how you need to be doing something different. It was completely, and it was showing, it was pictures of these people holding their stomachs, doing weird stuff. And I thought, wait a minute, this is an Ayurvedic
no, not at all
practitioner.
But that's not the philosophy at all.
No, because in India, body image isn't a thing.
Right.
There's complete acceptance of how a body is, and what you do is you nurture it, period. Right.
But if I instill fear in my marketing practices,
correct,
in my advertisements, when people are scared or fearful, they do stupid shit. And that's all we see in the food and exercise industry anymore.
Oh, I know.
People are so scared to look a certain way.
It's unbelievably mind-blowing. And then I think I received like some some wacky other email that was just like, getting fat at menopause, like, let's do this, and it's like, hang on. Just hang on here.
Hang on.
And then the whole concept of this type of thing too is, people try to embark on what we call, again, and this is kind of now this is turning into a big thing too, like, trying to get more involved in wellness, or trying to start exercise, or trying to do these things. But the bottom line is that it's still not about support of the body. It's about making something different and making it more acceptable to anybody else.
Correct. And that's what wellness has turned into, and it's awful.
That is it's a sickness. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It is a sickness that once you're on that path and that's all you want to see, it's amazing how much life you lose from trying to not accept who you are and what you look like.
Well, and it's how many years do people spend not happy because that's their end game? Again, like we've talked about, you're always, instead of being here right now, you're always like, where I need happiness tomorrow and in my retirement and the afterlife and all of it. Like, we're always so far away from the present moment. And it's the same with our body. If I look this way, and then I get that way. Well, if I look this way, there's no pleasing people anymore. There's no happiness anymore. There's no understanding by the general public that, like, they're okay and their relationship with food or their certain physiological things could be better and could make their life better, but it's not their weight.
No, I would agree.
That they're missing the point.
Yeah.
They're missing the whole point of what wellness is.
Right. And then it creates, again, more fear, or what if I never get there, or I'm miserable. And now you start having disordered eating, right? You start having episodes of, let's say you're quote unquote following something, just saying, and you realize you're freaking hungry. Chances are you're going to have episodes of binging, which is then going to turn into a psychological thing of, oh, I messed up again.
Right.
Or this whole thing of, I have to get back on track. Can't stand that. It's like, no, why aren't we honoring the fact that you're hungry?
Yeah. And
why aren't we trying to figure out why you're hungry? That there's an imbalance somewhere, that we don't actually need to be hungry to the point that we're binging.
Correct.
Like, that isn't, I hate to say it's not normal. But it's not normal.
Well, and some of that too, I mean, how much do you see goes into people's work situations, if they're working second shift or working third shift, or the type of profession, whatever stress they might be under. I mean, because we could dabble in the nighttime eating syndrome stuff, but that's a big issue.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
I think, honestly, I feel like people normalize it. Oh, well, you do this profession, so that's okay that you binge, or that's okay that you restrict, or that's okay that you are fat, or that's okay that you're thin because this is what you do for a living. I mean, we see that all the time, right?
Oh my
gosh.
Oh,
you're a dietitian, so you must eat salads every day. Or, oh, have you ever gotten you're a dietitian? like, oh, all right. Like, we were like, what does that mean? Because I'm going to read into that one.
That's hilarious. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, rude. People are terrible, but it's really, you talk about hunger and fullness cues, and like, if you aren't having them, that's not normal. Don't be like, well, yeah, I just don't have hunger and fullness cues.
That's the whole thing too.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
Physiologically, you are hormonally just totally nothing's going on.
Something's
going wrong. Right. And if you are having hunger cues right away after eating, or if you're having overly strong fullness cues, or you're having hunger and fullness cues at weird times during the night or whatever, something is not right. And
That's
it's
correct.
not about the food.
Right.
It's not about your mind. It's not what you ate. It's not how you exercise. It is hormonal.
Absolutely.
Period. Men,
Absolutely.
you too.
Absolutely.
This isn't just women. Like when we say hormones, it doesn't just mean women.
No, it definitely means men as well.
And very easily, especially those who are exercising more than just taking a walk every day, you're going to experience that.
Right.
If you're not eating appropriately. And by appropriately, I don't mean healthy.
No.
Like timing plays, like everything plays a role. And it's just, Nicole, in my head, I just keep coming back to, the talk you gave last night. And I don't know if you told him that you had a podcast or whatever, but
yeah.
So I won't mention, anything about it, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, then there's no understanding how physiology plays a role in activity.
Right. And how it changes and alters it.
Correct.
So kind of drastically, depending on the degree of training. And people forget that exercise is stress. The higher your heart rate, the longer the heart rate, that creates more stress on your body. It's not necessarily a good thing. What we do know is that higher heart rate for, say, a 20-minute period is fine.
Yep.
But higher heart rate for 40 minutes, 60 minutes, 80, 90, 3 hours.
How about hours?
That is not normal for a body. Therefore, a body is always looking to maintain homeostasis. And if it doesn't have, if manually we are not doing our part to support the stress, then a body has to alter the way the body functions in its entirety to help you survive, period.
Correct. Right.
So this whole idea of, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I'm doing a 3-hour workout, but I can't, I'm not supposed to eat more than 12 to 1800 calories. Like, that's not, or
right. Total.
I can't eat during that workout because what's the point? Okay.
Then I'm not losing weight.
Why do we want to keep hurting our body? It's when we finally start working with our body fully and completely and understanding how it functions that your body actually goes to a place where it wants to be and can function well. And like I said, weight or not, you're probably going to be pleased with what that may show. But the thing is that to me, it tells me still two things. A, we have to control our body. Our body doesn't know what it's doing and it's not enough. I look a particular way and apparently it's not acceptable.
Right. We have been, we talk about how diet behaviors, disordered eating has been very normalized in our country. But let's talk about how shaming ourselves.
Yes, completely.
We are conditioned through society to do that.
Yeah.
Where if we're shamed, it's like, oh yeah, they're right. Yeah, that's totally true. I am that way. That's screwed up.
That is messed up.
And the people who do stand up for themselves, their bodies, whatever it might be, are then further shamed.
Correct.
It's a problem. It's a problem. But unfortunately, we've way too many more people than not accept it and agree with it and say, yep, I have all of these things to fix about myself. My size 6 should really be a 2.
Right.
What?
And why?
Why? I don't even understand
what if
that.
your body doesn't want to be that way because it doesn't function well that way? It doesn't make sense for your whole body chemistry.
Right.
Like it just doesn't make any sense.
If you're a size 16, then embrace it, love it. You're doing all the right things. You're getting a little exercise. You're eating fun foods. You're eating healthy foods. You're doing all the different types of variety, blah, blah, blah. Let it go.
Yeah.
Stop letting people shame you. And when they do, say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say something, because I see more often than not, most people go, oh yeah, you're right. Or they just sit in silence.
Sure.
Or they just put their head down. And these are adults who just can't, I don't want to be disrespectful to my mom. what? You should
What?
be, because she's 100% disrespecting you. So like, it's okay, whether it's a relative or a friend or a teacher or whoever.
Yeah, that's
no
interesting.
no one should be shaming you.
Right. Correct.
Ever.
Right.
Ever.
Correct.
Especially for those personal things, like what you're doing with activity, what you're doing with your body, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Completely.
So that's, I think of, and I can't remember her first name. Her first name escapes me. Last name is Bumfit, out of Australia.
Mm.
But I want to say like Christine, but I don't think that that's it.
Sure.
She was whatever those models are, the exercise ones, you know what I mean? Where they're
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the super fit muscle ladies.
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
that way. Right. Well, then she thought, she decided, she's like, this is stupid. Don't want to do it. Don't like it. Doesn't make me feel good.
Right.
Even though like it's supposed to, quote unquote, right? Like it's
Right.
supposed to. And
well, because isn't that look considered what everybody thinks is healthy? Well, guess what?
Toned. This is toned.
Probably one of the most unhealthiest things out there. Yeah.
Right. So she started eating just normal, not following the diet for that particular physique and blah, blah, blah. And her body just was her body then.
Sure.
So she started then in the same bikini, or the, how they take pictures in their swimsuits. It's the same thing. And the shaming that occurred for her was unreal. And so she started the body positive movement, which is where a couple years ago, which is where so many of us got, on that bandwagon and started really pushing all of this.
Yeah.
But we've been pushing it for years, but I think that movement really made a difference. And so she has a pretty big following, but she has less of a following than there are, than those who are body shaming. Sure. You know what I mean? It's awful. But then you have to ask, like, why? Why do you care so much? Like, why?
Totally.
You are that insecure and sick yourself. Recognize that and don't shame others. Stop bullying people. You're an adult.
It's really crazy.
Like, you're an adult. And a lot of the retort is, well, you need to be more disciplined. You gave up on yourself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That whole concept of being disciplined leads to so much body shame, self-shame, everything. It's awful.
It is.
I'm not disciplined and I'm supposed to be disciplined. We've talked about David Goggins before in his book, and how, just all that pressure people put on themselves based on what he says.
Sure.
It's hard. And it's really sad.
It's incredibly sad.
And I don't know how people combat it except to stop buying the books, stop engaging in it on social media, stop believing it.
Right.
Start to change the tape in your head to be a different tape. Because you're fine.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And when we talk about discipline too, it's exercising discipline around a belief, right? And we talked about this on one of our last pods, where remember, we can change our beliefs. So if you want to practice discipline is simply being true to a belief. Being true to a concept.
You should repeat that.
How about being true to yourself? How about being true to the fact that you want to, feel the best you can. You want to move in the way that you wish. You want to embrace every ounce of you, right? We are a human being that literally fluctuates based off of what is happening in your life, in your health, right? Sometimes that happens. We can embrace that sometimes that happens. We can also embrace that, are we caring enough for ourselves? Are we giving ourselves enough downtime? Are we really honed in to, that meal made me feel satisfied. That meal lasted me a few hours. Now I'm hungry, but not starving again. I'm going to refuel again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, self-care, not like the constant excuse of basically what you continuously tell yourself when you're like, yeah, I don't have time for that. Oh, yeah, you know what? My work is so busy that I literally just can't get lunch. And you know what? I can't even pee the entire day. because my work is so busy. So what you're telling me is you're worth nothing.
Nothing.
You
Correct.
literally have no worth.
Correct.
You are not worth taking a moment to take care of yourself.
Or telling someone, I need a moment.
You know,
and I'm going to be late to that meeting by 5 minutes.
By literally 5 minutes. And not only that, how about I'm coming to that meeting with my lunch. Hey, y'all, listen to my crunches. I don't care. We can get this done.
Right.
And we can all eat, because guess what? This is also life. And we are human beings that require care. We require breaks. We require hydration. We require food. We require movement. We require air. We require sun. We require to not be stuck in a cubicle with recirculating crappy air all day and no breaks or no pee breaks.
Right.
Good.
Correct.
Freaking Lord.
Right.
I am sick of hearing people say, essentially, I am not important, but my work is.
But my work is. Correct.
But everything that life requires from me is, but this crazy, stupid schedule that I continue to lead. Okay, great. So that's what you want your life to be.
Because Nicole, the belief is the crazier my schedule, the more superior I am to my peers.
Right.
There's a belief there with that.
And
if I work, it appears like I make more money, number one. And number two, the busier I am, that means I'm more successful. And it all comes down to those weird beliefs around work.
But that's what I'm saying. It is time to dig up these beliefs and put in some new roots here, because we continue to spiral, become unhappy, and then hurt ourselves, because that's all that's happening. People are continuously hurting themselves.
And that is
the
normalized.
Point of life? What is the point of this life?
Right.
You know, that we live in this brutality and suffering and
can't eat anything.
Right. What's the point? So anyway, I've said that was a true rant. And the thing is there's a lot of reality in there.
Well, that's why this podcast was created. So Nicole, at what point should someone feel shame?
Never.
You know what I mean? We talk about, but like we talk about how, you should not feel shame. You shouldn't shame others. So like, should people feel shame ever? What's an appropriate thing to feel shame for? And when's an appropriate time to feel like you're fat, or you should work on yourself, or you should improve your health scores, or whatever it might be? You know what I mean? Because you're going to have those arguments from people.
Sure.
Let's define it. Yep. I love definitions.
So here we go. Shame, a painful feeling of humiliation or distrust caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior.
So like the time I went in a restaurant bathroom and then didn't lock the door, and then someone opened the door and left it open as they walked away.
Nice.
And is that embarrassment or is that shame? I'm not sure.
Because I made that
but I
mean, obviously, if you're completely vulnerable, and exposing pieces of you that you don't typically expose to others.
Correct. Yeah.
I feel like
there was lots of things I was feeling.
But I think the thing about it didn't mean to interrupt you, but when we're looking at this definition again, it's being conscious of wrong or foolish behavior, meaning if you hurt somebody else. Correct. Or if it's not a matter of the feeling of shame is just simply maybe the conscious feeling of maybe that wasn't the best thing. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is this, so we get over it. We apologize for something, right?
But you do not apologize for your clothes or your weight or your food choice. No.
But that's what I'm saying. But shame is being used in a terrible. Shame is not even being used in the appropriate sense here when we're talking about shaming ourselves because of how our body is.
Right.
No, that's not what that is. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I said this definition.
How do you change how people are feeling? I mean, you can't change how people feel, right? but you can surround yourself with people who are feeling things that you want to be feeling.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. If you're continually putting yourself around people who are saying they're fat or hate themselves or whatever negative things,
correct,
you can walk away from those people, even if they're family members.
Exactly.
You can walk away and set boundaries. I have had people cut ties completely with family members.
Yeah, for sure.
At the very least, you can set boundaries. And if you need help on that, that's where people like we come in, therapists come in, everyone comes in to help, because it can be challenging, especially with family members, to set those boundaries.
Completely.
Can you argue that even like the exercise influencers and diet influencers who are quote unquote thin and toned and healthy or whatever adjectives they typically use about themselves, feel shame?
Make that very clear. They're using adjectives that aren't defining what the truth could possibly be.
Correct. Do they feel shame? Or is that some sort of weird, I'm better than you? Because that's always how I've always interpreted it. It's like this weird, I'm better than you.
Well, sure. And again, people can be covering up a whole bunch of stuff too.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
most of this is all about a facade. When you say, it's like no one's really showing you their reality.
Mm-mm.
No one's showing you the reality or the demons that they battle every single day.
No, especially on social media.
Sure. So they've got to cover it up. And usually the louder they are, the more demons there are there. That doesn't always mean the case, but what I'm saying is that there's tendencies for that.
Right. No, absolutely. So I think we've touched on and covered the shame piece, at least to a degree that we wanted to.
Yeah, for sure. So
I think we just want people to start feeling good about themselves. And unfortunately, they think it's going to come with some weird food or clothing article or whatever,
But that's the thing, the very thing that people are looking for is what they need to be providing for themselves. We cannot rely on our external environment or the people around us to give us what we need. We have to give it to ourselves. So, we need to respect ourselves enough. We need to see ourselves as incredibly valuable. We need to take up space for ourselves. This whole work thing drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
But anyway, so anyway, hoping that people are able to kind of take in what we talked about and maybe, again, objectively, meaning just take whatever that brought up for you and throw it on a table, right? Just look at it. Don't judge it. Just look at it and be like, is this how I really want to continue my path? Or do I really want to start instilling some different thoughts for myself?
Right.
Because those thoughts will lead to actions and will lead you to, again, better feedback. Hopefully not the feeling of shame, but the feeling of self-love, acceptance, gratitude, right?
Yeah,
appreciation of where you've been, where you're going.
I don't think people know how to feel that without some form of accomplishment. Like not me personally, but I feel like I don't appreciate my body until it finishes the 100-miler, until it finishes the triathlon.
That's a super
then I
interesting
appreciate
concept.
it.
Sure, that's it. But that's still the message of I'm not good enough.
Correct.
So
but that's when you hear it.
Sure.
Right. If people can't distinguish.
Right. If you're relying on the sickness of everybody else to make you feel good.
Correct.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I do.
Oh. So anyways, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you gleaned something from this. Bye.
Adios.
Have questions you want to hear discussed on the show? Find us on Facebook or visit betweentwopastries.com and drop us a line. Want to support the show? Find us on Patreon for exclusive content. If you love the show, find us on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review.